collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Blue Jet, the third entry in the Machine Build series from Mega House, and this is based on his appearance in Machine Robo Revenge of Chronos, even though we've seen this robot in several other things. Machine Robo Rescue, which is a personal favorite of mine. I think he was just called Jet Robo in that one, though. And also you may recognize him as one of the Renegades from GoBots, which was the kind of westernized version of Machine Robo here in the States. But for all intents and purposes, this is a transformable action figure, although they have to bill it as a model kit, I think, to skirt around some licensing. But yeah, there's a few pieces you'll probably have to pop on, like the hands and maybe the shoulder pads, things like that. But it is like 90% built in the box. So here on the front, we have Blue Jet, robot looking fantastic. Got some warnings and whatnot over on this side. Over here showing you some of the accessories. Looks like he's got a couple of different head options, some fantastic bladed weapons here, and then the like truncated version of the nose cone. You can see there's two different versions there, so we'll check all that out. Up here just showing the vehicle mode and the robot mode. Same with down here, and then over here on the back you just have a nice big picture of the vehicle mode, which I think looks pretty sharp. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the box and we'll take a closer look. Here is Blue Jet out of the packaging, fully assembled. It's actually a decent amount of assembly. It really only took about 15 minutes, but it was more than I was expecting. But I think this guy is phenomenal. I love the two swords that he comes with. They look really fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and remove them temporarily just so we can check out a lot of the rest of him. So pop that off of there. So as far as assembly goes, these wing pieces had to be clicked on, so these inner white pieces were attached, but just these outer white pieces of the wing you had to snap on. Very simple, and then that sits flush. Couple of small pieces here on the abdomen, these little white pieces just clipped on, and then this kind of red belt buckle piece. These two skirt pieces just plugged in. And they do give you alternate ones. So these can hold the swords. As you can see, there's a little tab there. And then there's a tab slot up here towards the hilt so that you can clip them on there. But if you don't like that look, they do also give you these kind of normal side skirt pads. So if you don't want the holster, you can use these instead. The arm assembly, actually, if I take this off. So there is the inner mechanism, which is the elbow joint. This piece slid over top and then will connect back onto the arm. And then these two pieces of the forearm, you can see the seam right there, one here. They just clipped around the like skeletal piece of the forearm that clipped on there, and then you popped the hand in. And that's really all the assembly that you had to do. So the shoulder pads were already on there. Just had to slide this bicep piece on, clip these two pieces of the forearm over the skeleton, and that was pretty much it for assembly. Oh, there was one other thing. This blue piece here actually had to peg into the back of the head. That was separate. And then this big piece here, you can see just pegs in there. So this is needed for the transformation. If you don't like the look of this, if you think it looks a little cleaner without, you can easily just unpeg this and put it off to the side if you want a kind of nicer, cleaner look to Blue Jet here. And I really don't know why he's called Blue Jet, because he's very clearly white, black, and red, but he has a little bit of gold. I guess he does have a little bit of blue for the canopy and also for the head sculpt. Let's see. First, we'll check out. So I did show off already that you have a closed fist, an open hand. You do get a full set of both. So I want to show that those are included. I talked about the side skirt pieces. You do get two different heads as well. Now, I'll be honest, they're not super different. It looks like the difference of the visor shaping is about all that's different there. But if you want to switch these out, it's very simple to do. You just pop one off. There's a little ball joint underneath, and then you just pop it back on. So you can switch out to whichever one you prefer. But yeah, overall, I think this looks really, really cool. This might be my favorite one so far. I really like this guy quite a bit. So the head can turn side to side. You get a little bit of back and forth and side to side, but not really a ton. You have a swivel here for the shoulder, kind of a reverse butterfly joint. You have a swivel here. You have a bicep swivel. You have double jointed elbows, which is nice. Then you have a ball joint for the hand, so you get a nice range of motion there, and they're easy enough to swap out. You do have a waist swivel. I think there is like a small kind of ab crunch you can kind of see there. It's not a ton, but there is a little bit. You can move these side skirt pieces up so they don't get in the way of the leg movement. Ball joint for the hip, kicks really far. Can't really go back all that far because of the back skirt piece, but you can kick out to the side once you move those side skirt pieces. So real nice range of motion there. Thigh swivel, not quite 90 degrees there in the knee, but it's okay. And then you can swivel the foot or toe side to side. You can see there's a little bit of front to back and a lot of side to side to kind of simulate ankle tilt. You're not really tilting the majority of the leg, but you do have that little bit. And you have some inlaid gold plastic there, and I believe this is painted here, which looks pretty sharp. So yeah, all in all, I like this guy quite a bit. I think he's very cool. Technically, you do have a little bit of a butterfly joint because of the transformation, so you could utilize that as well. But yeah, he looks really, really good, and I want to bring in the other two. So we have Rod Drill and Bike Robo. So you can see the full cast of all three of these so far. I think there is a fourth. Yeah, I have a fourth one. I'll have to get to that soon. I think that's Battle Robo, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, these three are looking cool. Now, if you're a GoBot fan, I believe all three of these guys were Renegades. Psykill, and I don't remember the names of the other two. But that's interesting that, you know, all these guys from Revenge of Chronos became bad guys on GoBots. I would love whatever Leader 1 or Turbo were called in Japan. I don't know, you know, what fiction they're from. I don't think they were in Revenge of Chronos, but I believe there was other Machine Robo fiction after that. But in any case, these three are looking really cool together. I think this guy's definitely my favorite. Not to say, I feel like each one has gotten better. Like, Rod Drill was cool, Bike Robo was even better, and I think Blue Jet is the best. So maybe that means the next one, Battle Robo, will be even better. We'll have to wait and see. But I love the design of this guy. I just think he looks really, really cool. Alright, so getting into Blue Jet's transformation. Now, it doesn't really matter which fists you have attached. I would say it's probably easier to deal with two closed fists. It's not impossible to make it work with the open hands, but just for simplicity, I'm going to switch this out. So we're going to start by taking the head and rotating it 180 degrees. If you had removed this back piece, you're going to make sure that that's back attached, because then this is going to fold up over top like so. Now, I will say to be careful because mine fell off while I was trying this out. There is the clip here where the blue meets the red, that pegs in. But then this piece here where it meets kind of the rest of this is just like a hook. And so there's just a rod underneath that it clips on. So it can fall off. It pops right back on if it does. Not a big deal. Then we are going to take the arms and we are going to fold them in. While at the same time we are going to rotate at the bicep 90 degrees. And then they want you to use the elbow joints to kind of bring this down so that this is kind of a straight line like that. You can see it doesn't really matter, but they want the directions call it out. I don't really think it gets in the way if you don't, but just something to be a little careful with. Now, if at this point you do have the open hands attached still, I would say to kind of turn them so that the palms are facing inward towards the robot, just to get them out of the way for the next step, which is going to be to take the white wings and unfold these and stretch them out. If you want to flip the red tail fin up as well, you can do that. That can be done at any time. And this is actually pretty cool. So what you're going to do is there's a red piece of plastic right here, a little flap, that's going to unhook. You're just going to pop it out. So you can see that it has a tab right here, which is sitting into that recessed area. That's what's keeping it transformed in like the full stretched out leg mode. So once you open that up, then this whole thing can just push in, and you just keep pushing it in and pushing it in until the thruster pops out the bottom, which is actually really cool. And once you get there, then you'll just push this back in like that. And the reason they had you kind of keep the arm straight is so that this can move. But you could kind of use the, like, just kind of move this out of the way. But it is kind of nice. Now, I wish it had a way to kind of like attach, maybe like a light tab or something to tab into the bottom. But unfortunately, we don't have anything like that. But I will repeat the process over here with this leg. So we're going to flip out this little tab. And it can be kind of difficult. So you just want to be careful with it because it's not the thickest piece of plastic. It should be fine as long as you're careful with it. But sometimes it can really get in there. There we go. Okay, so now that's out. This will slide all the way in like that and then close back down. And then the other thing that I really wish it did is I wish the two legs pegged together. They don't really. You know, it stays enough in place with these pieces, but like these just kind of like naturally rest. They don't snap in as much as I'd like. I mean, I guess they kind of sit over top of the waist piece, so it works well enough in that regard. But it would have been nice if they could have pegged together here as well. I think that would have been better. But again, for the most part, pretty good. Holds together pretty well. I really like the look of the jet mode. I think that's really cool. Now, if for whatever reason you don't like the larger canopy, you can, you know, leave this unpegged, and then you can just switch the head around and go with the smaller. That is an option. I think the proportions on that are a little weird, which is why I'm kind of glad that they gave us the option to utilize this one. If I can pop this back on, there we go. So I do like the proportions of that a little better. I think that looks kind of neat. The other thing that's really cool is underneath here, you have these little tabs that were previously tabbed into the side of the leg, but you can utilize these to store the swords, if you like, in this mode. So you can go ahead and pop these on, one on each side, like this. And that gives kind of a cool look as well. So if you like the look of that, you can store the swords underneath the wings. I guess technically, if you wanted to do it the other way, you could do that as well. If you like the look of them shooting out the back, maybe as thrusters or something. So you have a couple options there, which is kind of neat. And I really like these weapons. I think he looks really cool utilizing the two swords in robot mode, so I'm really happy that they were included. But yeah, it's a really cool looking vehicle mode. And then let's go ahead and bring in our two others. So we got Rod Drill and Bike Robo. Again, I think Blue Jet is the strongest, but I do really like Bike Robo as well. I think he came out great. Again, Rod Drill's fine. I mean, he was kind of a simplistic machine robo figure back in the day. But like I said, I feel like they're getting better as they go along. So you could tell like this one was kind of the first one. This was number 2. This is number 3. I feel like they're definitely getting better. He's definitely still my favorite, but Bike Robo was really solid as well. And Rod Drill, you know, he's fine. Not too bad. I think Blue Jet is really cool. He's definitely my favorite of the 3 so far. I love the robot mode. I love the 2 giant swords. I just think he looks so cool wielding them. I love the fact that you can store them on the hips. I think that's really cool. The head sculpts are fantastic. They do include 2. They don't really look all that different to me, but there is some slight difference in the visor. So whichever one you prefer, you have 2 options there. I like this piece here for the larger canopy in the vehicle mode. And the nice thing is if you like the look of not having this detached, if you kind of just like the look of a cleaner robot mode, you can absolutely do that. It's very simple to take on and off. Articulation's good. The only thing that bums me out a little bit is the way that the shoulders are, because they have this hinge. You can't actually like move this here. Like if I wanted to put the arm all the way out to the side, I can't really do that because that's the way the shoulder joint works. So that's a bit of a bummer, but that's really my only complaint. Otherwise, I think the articulation is pretty fantastic. Transformation's really fun. The vehicle mode looks pretty good. I do wish the vehicle modes snapped together a little bit more. just like with the legs or the arms, just snap together a little bit more in vehicle mode, but it still holds together pretty well. So yeah, all in all, I'm really happy with this guy. Definitely my favorite of the 3 so far, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking out Battle Robo. We'll see how he stacks up, but in my opinion, this guy's going to be pretty hard to beat. I really like this design quite a bit. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.